Once again, what's going on? This is Chief Kalinago Flying Eagle with another video. All right, hold on for a second. Just got to make sure I'm good on Facebook. All righty, boom. Here we are. And I'm going to make sure I'm good on YouTube. All right. Here we go. All right. So I would like to acknowledge the great spirit, universal intelligence, the great I am. I want to thank my ancestors for always guiding and protecting me, always walking with me. All right. And I honor them. And I know that any weapons formed against me will not prosper. Okay. So in this video, we're going to talk about a few things, and I want to ask your opinion again. All right. The reason why normally that is not the type of content that I do. All right. But I want to be a little more versatile. You know what I'm saying? And once again, I'm not doing that, for monetary, purposes, because I don't monetize my videos on YouTube. But I think there's always, like I said, there's always a madness behind everything that I do. Okay. There's always a madness behind everything I do, and there's a purpose and a reason for everything that I do. So we are going to talk about the NBA world reacts to LeBron when he did the dance. Okay. And I'm going to give my own thought on that. I don't really look at sports, like I said before, but highlights come across my, my phone. And then when something grabbed my attention, I click on it. Of course, I know what basketball is. I just don't sit around and watch basketball or even football or even baseball. All right. I'm not that type of guy. All right. And now, if there is the playoffs, and my boys, they watching this, the playoffs, then I'll hang out with them. If there's Super Bowl and my boys are watching, but that all season thing, that is not my forte. Okay. Like I said, I spend on the most of my time reading and researching. That's my type of thing. And I'm not even a nerd. I just love to read and study. Okay. So with that being said, I'm going to read a little article, and I would like your opinion on that, because the reason why I'm actually choosing that particular story is I want to point something out after we read the article and, you see that short little video. So that's one part. Okay. And the second part of that is we're going to talk about the origin of lacrosse, because a lot of people don't know. Once again, my goal is to teach us about us. Okay. I taught you guys, for those of you who didn't know, who created hockey. Hockey was created by us, the American Aborigines, but we don't get credit for that. And it is seen as a so-called white man sport, but it's not. We created it. Okay. We just don't get the credit. All right. But we'll also go into lacrosse. So let me go ahead and share my screen, and let us go over this short article, and we'll come back and talk about opinions on that and the reason why I wanted to go over that article. Okay. Here we go. So this article is coming from the Spawn. All right. And that was December 5th, 2021. Okay. So NBA world reacts to what Kareem said about LeBron James. Los Angeles, California, January 21st, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar waves to fans as he arrived to attend the UCLA Bronze and Arizona Wildcats college basketball game at Pauley Pavilion on January 21st, 2017 in Los Angeles. So that's a picture of him right there, right? So Kareem Abdul-Jabbar has made his opinion on LeBron James's celebratory dance extremely clear. Earlier this season, LeBron James hit a big game selling shot against the Indiana Pacers. He proceeded to do somewhat of a NSFW celebratory dance. I don't even know what that is. Can anybody in the chat tell me what is the NSFW celebratory dance? I mean, I saw what he did, but I don't know what NSFW means. All right. Once again, pardon my ignorance. I'm not a big sports fan like that. All right. LeBron was later fined by the league for his Sam Cassell inspired celebration. Okay. So we're going to look at a short video all right, to see what that was about. Let's take a look at it.
Huge shot by LeBron. LeBron just steps back, and Turner has no chance of getting to it. And the three, long distance. The shot clock was becoming an issue. And LeBron celebrating the triple.
Okay. Let's see that
Huge
again.
shot by LeBron. And LeBron just steps back, and Turner has no chance of getting to it. And the three, long distance. The shot clock was becoming an issue. And LeBron celebrating the triple.
Okay, so apparently it looked like the dance he was doing at the end or during the dance, he may have seemed to be holding on to his crotch. All right. But legendary NBA star Kareem Abdul-Jabbar has made it clear that he was not a fan of LeBron's celebratory dance move. Why do you need to do a stupid, childish dance? It doesn't make sense. Goats don't dance, said Kareem. All right. So let us play this video of his response.
Why do you need to do a stupid, childish dance and disrespect the other team on the court? It doesn't make sense. Goats don't dance.
Okay, so let's play this again.
Why do you need to do a stupid, childish dance and disrespect the other team on the court? It doesn't make sense. Goats don't dance.
Okay, so let me ask you a question. All right, what is, for those of you who probably, well, let me finish reading the article. NBA fans are somewhat split on Abdul-Jabbar's take. Old man just mad Bron coming for that all-time scoring record. LOL, one fan tweeted. Kareem once punched a player mid-game, you know, laughing that another fan pointed out. It seems he's finally reached his bitter old man phase, one fan added on Twitter. Kareem been hitting on LeBron on lately. I don't like it, another fan added. To be fair, Kareem, the NBA didn't really like it either, fining LeBron $15,000 for that move. Okay, so LeBron and the Lakers, meanwhile, are set to host the Celtics on Tuesday night. Anyway, that's not about that. My question is this. Well, first off, I'm going to ask you a question, right? Okay, I'm going to ask you a question here. First off, do you think LeBron should have gotten fined $15,000 for doing that dance? All right, I'm going to give my opinion. My opinion is no, and I'll tell you why. Okay, even if people are people, you have different ethnic groups, and we are a different ethnic group. Okay, and we do things differently. Everything we do it differently. All right, but what a lot of people don't realize, we are playing in a game. Okay, that loves our culture. They celebrate our culture, but at the same time, they don't respect the culture, if that makes sense. And I personally think that there are enough, okay, professional football players, basketball players, where we should have our own leagues. That is just my personal opinion, because we do things differently, all right? And I just think that within the United States, we cannot express ourselves and be who we are. Every time we do something, it's always being criticized. You see what I'm saying? But yet still, it's, for some reason, it seems to be the culture that the world is gravitating to. You dig? So I personally don't think LeBron should have been fined $15,000 for doing a celebratory dance. That's what we do. That's what we do. But you have to play the game when you don't own the game. And that's the problem that I have. And that is one of the main reasons for me doing this. It's about talking about owning the game. And I'm going to ask my people again, aren't we tired of playing the game without owning the game? You feel me? Like I said, there's always a madness behind everything I do. Okay? I'm not a big sports fan. No, I've said that before. But at the same time, I am for our people owning our own leagues. Because the truth of the matter is, we owned it all. Okay? We owned it all. Which brings me to the next half of the video. Okay? I'm going to show you where lacrosse came from. And most of you probably didn't even know that. thinking it is a so-called white people sport. Just like hockey. Hockey started in Nova Scotia by American Aborigines, but of course they say African Americans. But we know they weren't African Americans, because let me ask you a question. What African is coming from Africa? Okay? In hot Africa, coming as a slave into the Americas and getting on ice to do hockey. Come on. You feel me? But they're always discrediting American Aborigines. You feel me? So we have to come together, family. I just cannot express that enough. We have to come together and take a stand and let the world know, listen, man, enough is enough. We know who we are. We're going to stand as who we are, and we're going to celebrate who we are. Because that is part of our behavioral characteristics. Okay? If you read as much as I've read, okay, prehistoric book about the characteristics of American Aborigines, what LeBron did was perfectly normal. Because that's us. Okay? They describe some of our characteristics as charismatic. So this is literally, it's in the DNA, man. Why do you think we always do things and it always seems to be extra? No, that is just our nature. You feel me? So no, I don't think he should have been fined. And whether Kareem Abdul-Jabbar was hating, I'm not going to take it that far. All right? The point is, I don't think LeBron should have been fined. All right? And I think it's time that we start having our own leagues. Okay? Ownership is key. We got to get off that plantation, man. We got to get off the plantation. You feel me? And because these players, they get millions of dollars, they're still slaves. Like everybody else that's in you know, that's here, you know, just trading their time for money. They're just slaves on a different level. It is time we start having ownership and creating our own and now owning the game. They cannot prevent us from doing it because, for one, you cannot say, well, you created it now. We could debunk that. But that's just me and my opinion. All right. The next article we're gonna read is about lacrosse. Now, some of you may not be interested in lacrosse. Me personally, I'm not, but I'm just gonna give you the origin of lacrosse because a lot of people probably don't know. All right. And that's part of me showing you how great we are. Okay. When you don't know who you are, then you will feel like, you know what? You know, we came from the bottom. We came from slave ships and all that. And that's what we are being taught. But let us exactly in the game, instead of owners of the game, we make up 85. There you go. And I totally agree with that, Madeline. And that's my whole point. And I'm gonna read your comment. As a matter of fact, what I'm gonna do is let me stop here and let me see if I can highlight your comment because I like what you just said. All right. So I'm gonna stop sharing my screen and I'm gonna show what you just hold on for a second. Here we go. Okay, here we are. Well, first off, you know, let me just highlight, you know, give Zazie a highlight, you know, wholesomeness and love, bliss to you as well, Zazie. And let me just go ahead and read Madeline's comment. All right. Aren't we tired of being pawns in the game instead of owners of the game? We make up 85% and the coaches and owners are only 15%. You know, you don't know how to use your power just like everyone else does in other cultures. And I totally agree. I mean, you literally said a mouthful. You feel me? And that is facts. All right. And that's the reason why I wanted to do, you know, that, you know, read on that article, because our people are just always being used as pawns so that other ethnic groups could live the best lifestyles and create dynasties. Okay. And that is why literally over 80% of these players, they go broke even before they retire. You feel me? Because they're just being used as pawns. We have to step into ownership. And that's why I encourage each and every one of you. We got to get the bag. We got to come together. We got to do group economics. You feel me? Because it's the only way to get it done. Or you cannot talk, oh, well, we're indigenous, we deserve a basketball team. No, you got to have money to create a league or buy a league. You feel me? But I love that comment right there. Thank you for that. All right. So let us go into the next article. I just had to come back because once again, that comment was right on point. So I had to stop sharing the screen and come back to it. So let us go to the next. The next article. All right. Give it some time to populate. Here we go. And for those of you who didn't know this, here's a little part of our story that's not being told. Okay. Origin and history. Origin of men's lacrosse. What began as a skidball and a Native American Indian contest played by tribal warriors for training, recreation, and religious reasons has developed over the years into the interscholastic, professional, and international sport of lacrosse. Now, when they speak of Native Americans, it wasn't these natives that you see. Okay, that was a game that was created by American Aborigines. All right, I just want to point that out because I'm just tired of the games that's being played on our people, man. All right. Now, lacrosse was started by I'm going to use the proper term, American Aborigines or American Indians, and was originally known as stickball. Okay. What as stickball. The game was initially played in St. Lawrence Valley area by the Algonquin tribe, and they were followed by the tribes in the eastern half of the North America and around the West Great Lakes. Okay. And as you could see, they have a photograph and a simulation of a lot of so-called Native Americans, playing the stickball game. Okay. Indian ball game by George Catlin, courtesy Smithsonian American Art Museum. The American Indian, I'm not going to use Native. The American Indian Games were seen as major events, which took place over several days. They were played over huge open areas between villages, and the goals, which might be trees or other natural features, were anything from 500 yards to several miles apart. Any number of players were involved. Some estimates have mentioned between 100 to 100,000 players participating in a game at any one time. Okay, so that is a huge sporting event. You're talking about from 100 to 100,000 players participating in a game at one time. You feel me? The rules were very simple. The ball was not to be touched by a player's hand, and there were no boundaries. The ball was tossed into the air to indicate the start of the game, and the players raced to be the first to catch it. All right. Early lacrosse balls, courtesy of the Smithsonian Museum. The original wooden balls were later replaced by deerskin balls filled with fur, and the sticks developed over time to become the more sophisticated implements, the netting made from deer sinews. In preparation for the game, players used paint and charcoal to decorate their faces and bodies. Seahawks playing ball by Charles Diaz in 1843. Okay. Games of lacrosse were played for a number of reasons. It was considered a sport that toughened up young warriors for war, but it was also a game played for recreation and for religious reasons. It was not unusual for bets to be placed on the outcome of games. And yes, gambling was also part of our culture. Okay? Keep that in mind. Jean de Brebeuf, or Brebeuf, French Jesuit missionaries working in St. Lawrence Valley in the 1630s were the first Europeans to see lacrosse being played by the American Indians. And the reason why I'm putting it in its proper perspective is because in the 1600s, the natives that you see right now, they were nowhere around. Okay? They were nowhere around because they only came into play in the late 17, in the mid 1800s. Okay, early 1800s. That's when those people were put in place to replace us. So in the 1600s, lacrosse were being played by American Aborigines. That's why I implore my people, let's come together and start putting some lawsuits in place. We got to take a stand. Okay? This corporation, all these corporations, they owe us. But too many of you want to walk around calling yourselves Black and African American. And even for those of you who know you indigenous, y'all still competing against each other because y'all don't want to come together. Okay? But let's read this again. French Jesuit missionaries working in the St. Louis Valley in the 1630s were the first Europeans to see lacrosse being played by American Indians. And once again, the reason why I'm saying American Indians is because in 1492, when these so-called black people that came here that looked like us and they name us American Indians, it wasn't these natives that you see today. Okay? Native is a whole new thing that the U.S. government created to put in place to replace the people, the original people, the copper-colored races, okay, that were first called American Indians. They put them in place to replace us. Facts over feelings, all right? One of them, Jean de Brébeuf, or Brébeuf, wrote about the game being played by the Huron Indians, okay, in 1633, and Huron Indians, and it was he who named the game lacrosse. Now, here's another thing. St. Vincent, for those of you who don't know, St. Vincent and the Grenadines, the original name for St. Vincent was the Huron, okay? And who were the Huron people? They were the Caribs, okay? Now they're calling them Garifuna, making them think they are actually Africans and American Indians. But no, they are American Indians. You feel me? So how could these natives be called Huron when Huron was a country with so-called black people? I'm showing y'all the game. Okay? Peep the game. I'm going to repeat that again. One of them, Jean de Brébeuf, wrote about the game being played by what? The Huron Indians in 1636, and he was the name, and he who named the game lacrosse. A demonstration of lacrosse was given by the Caughnawaga Indians in Montreal in 1834. All right, so here we are. 19th century Canadian lacrosse, courtesy of Smithsonian Museum. As a result, interest in the game of lacrosse began to develop in Canada. A Canadian dentist, Dr. William George Beers, was responsible for founding the Montreal Lacrosse Club in 1856, and a decade later, he drew up rules which included reducing the number of players, introducing a rubber ball, and a red design stick. Now, keep in mind, remember I told y'all in one of my lessons that the French trappers, what they did was they would come into in North America, especially Canada, and they got into the fur trade by marrying indigenous women. Okay, that's how they were able to have any type of authority on the land. Same thing happened with hockey. It started in Nova Scotia. And here, history again, repeating itself with lacrosse, all right? By the 1860s, lacrosse had become Canada's national game, and in 1867, exhibition games were played in England. But yet still you would think is a so-called white man game. No, it's not, all right? In 1876, Queen Victoria watched a game being played and remarked that the game is very pretty to watch. In 1883, a touring team, from Canada and a team made up of Iroquois natives visited Scotland. During the tour, professional literature was distributed to the spectators, pointing out the benefits of immigration to Canada. 1940, there's a picture, a 1940 Wenenberg Shamrocks Olympic gold medal winning lacrosse team, all right? By the turn of the century, lacrosse was becoming more popular in several countries, and in 1904 and 1908, lacrosse was played in Summer Olympics, all right? So I just wanted to, the first ever recorded women's lacrosse contest was played in Scotland, all right? And that is just the women's lacrosse team. Okay, none of them look indigenous, all right? Just so you know. The first head mistress, Miss Lumsden, watched a game played in Canada in 1884 between the Cahuwaya Indians and the Montreal Club in Montreal and thought it beautiful and graceful. As a result, the game was introduced at the school. A girl writing in Student Magazine reported details of the very first lacrosse match at St. Leonard's on March 27, 1890. After our crossing have undergone a severe inspection, i.e. our referee holding them up, etc., etc., etc. I'm not going to read the entire thing. That link is in the description, but I just wanted to kind of like point that out to you to let you know the origin of lacrosse. Okay, we have been stripped of every single thing: our identity, our culture, our sports. I mean, literally everything. Okay. Now, let me see if I can find something here to show y'all real quick. Give me 1 second. And remember, I told you the game was being played, okay, in the 1600s by the Huron Indians, right? Okay, boom. Let me stop sharing that right here and go back. Because you got to know, if you don't know who you are, man, okay? If you don't know who you are, they will tell you who you are, okay? Hold on for 1 second. Let me see if I can find that for you. Okay, what is the another name for? All right, so we know the islands. I'm trying to find something here for y'all. Give me 1 second, please. Give me 1 second. Give me 1 second, please. And they even have what you call it, a bear. Okay, the national bear in St. Vincent is called Hyroon. Okay. All right, let me see if I can pull that up for y'all real quick. Boom, boom, boom. Just so y'all know, I know what I'm talking about, because I like to give facts. Okay. I like to give facts because I don't just like to talk. All right. Was born in April, so it's in Louis Martin to November. I'm trying to see if I could pull that up name. All right, give me 1 second. The Huron tribe, Canada. All right. St. Vincent was called Hyroon, or the Society of St. Vincent and Paul. Hyroon St. Vincent de Paul Society, St. Vincent de Paul, subjecting with them, return you to the Vincent, their volume. Biography, Vincent was named as the chief in 1845, and the Hyroon community, St. Vincent, 1377, Port Hyroon. Okay, Hyroon. So, and a lot of times, you know, people think, hold on, I'm trying to find the what was the name of St. Vincent before colonization? Before colonization. All right, well, before Columbus, whatever the case may be. All right, so let me pull that up. And yes, you're absolutely correct. All right, now here we go. All right, and that means Hyroon means blessed land. Okay, so let me go ahead and share my screen and show it to you, because I don't want y'all to think I'm making this thing up. All right. And that's what happened when we sit around and expect people to teach us about ourselves. Of course, they're going to tell you what you want to hear, right? So even if Haroon is spelled differently, but it's the same pronunciation. So Haroon is an indigenous word. So here we go, okay? The Carib name for St. Vincent was Haroon, okay? Land of the blessed. Haroon St. Vincent would change hands numerous times over the next 280 years in a geopolitical power struggle the Caribbean inhabitants knew nothing about and could care less about. All right, so I just want to kind of show you that I know what I'm talking about. I'm not just making this up. All right. So that game was being played by Haroon, indigenous people. And I promise you, it's not these natives that you see. So who are these people? Where did they come from? I know where they came from, but nobody's asking those questions. Nobody's asking those questions whatsoever. You feel me? Nobody's asking those questions. So lacrosse is our sport. All right. This is not the so-called white man's sport. All right. So I just want to point that out. I'm going to show y'all one more thing before I get out of here. Let me see if I could pull that up. One more before I get out of here. Okay. Because we still have the ways and mannerisms of our ancestors. We do. Okay, let me see if I could pull that up. Where is this link at? Hold up. That is not the link I wanted. That is not the link. I had a link. Hold up. Let me see. Oh, what Genesis is doing? Let's see. Whoa. I had a link here for y'all. I'm trying to see where it's at. I hope I could find it. Let me see if I can find it. Give me 1 second. And I apologize, family. I don't plan these things. I just do lives, okay? So, let's see. I'm trying to see if I could find that. I can't find it. I had it here earlier, but for some reason I can't find it. Let me see if I could put on YouTube. Give me 1 second. Let me see if I could find this. Let me see if I could find this for y'all. Hopefully I could find it. If not, then I guess I'll have to show it to you another time, but let's see if we could find it. All right. On YouTube. All right, boom, there we go. And I want to show you again, which is part of our culture. Of course, people don't know that it's indigenous, but let me show you something that you're very familiar with, but a lot of people don't know that that's how we used to dance. That was one of our indigenous dances, okay? So let me show you here, and I'm going to share my screen, okay? And to show you the type of dances that our ancestors used to do, one of them, okay? The stuff that these natives are doing right now, that is not our dance, okay? In their powwows. I'm just keeping it real. A lot of you may think, well, Chief, oh, you're going too hard on the natives. No, I'm not, okay? They took that from us, but they can't, we think that's what it is, but no. I'm going to show you one of the videos, what you call the crip dance or the crip walk, okay? I'm going to show it to you, and that is one of our indigenous dances, okay? And everything that you see that these natives do is a simulation of that with different other dances that we did, okay? Let me show it to you right now. Get your walk on. Walk on. Walk on. Get your walk on. Yeah, I'm gonna tell you like this, bro. You know how I was. Been recorded and recorded since I hit the set. Young nigga with a rap that they get. All right. The video is played in slow motion, but you know, if in fact, I'm gonna take the link and put it here for you guys so you could watch it yourself and see it play in real time. Okay. So once again, this is what we do. This is our culture. This is an indigenous American Indian dance, but they call it the Crip Walk. But they don't know it's an indigenous American Indian dance. You feel me? So I just, you know, once again, man, I just have a passion for sharing information. You dig? So here we go. And also, you know, Bonita said, you know, they take our stuff, hide it, or teach us that they started this and that. You're absolutely correct. Here's another one. If we would start reading and researching things for ourselves, we would progress as a people. I totally agree. And that's why I encourage a lot of us to, you know, stop with the distractions. You know what I'm saying? Like literally, let us start researching who we truly are. Okay. So once again, on 12/12/21, I'm going to be starting a new segment on my platform, and we're going to be dealing with, you know, the mental disease, talking about the traumas. All right. And one thing I have to tell people is this, right? You know, I know the ancestors brought me here in the mainland for a reason, because I believe one of my purposes is to bridge the gap between the American Aborigines in the United States and the rest of the Americas. Because once again, I have to remind you that in the islands, right, you know, it's all about divide and conquer, because what they were showing us about the so-called black people or so-called African Americans in the United States is what they show on TV. Okay, they are lazy. All right, they live a life of crime. The women are on welfare. I mean, literally, that's what they were promoting. You feel me? But as a child, I always knew different. I always knew better, and I knew something was pulling me towards the United States, because I know I had to play a purpose in bridging that gap because of the divide and conquer. And also, it's going to be very, very important to talk about the differences in growing up. Okay, the childhood trauma. Now, I'm not saying in the islands, you know, there wasn't situations where they had that type of trauma, but I personally think in the United States, they took it to a whole different level. And that is just my opinion. Okay. And a lot of us from the islands, or, you know, from different parts of North America, or even people from South America, they haven't walked in the shoes of the so-called black people or African Americans in the United States. All right. Our Aboriginal brothers and sisters in the United States, they haven't taken the time to literally go into their psyche. Okay. Have a true understanding of what they were exposed to. Okay. So now a lot of us, okay, we do what we were taught, to criticize y'all. You feel me? And I want to bridge that gap, because that was done intentionally to my brothers and sisters in the United States. You feel me? No, at no point I'm saying that there shouldn't be responsibility that had to be taken. I'm not saying that. All right. But what was being promoted and what our people were being exposed to in the United States is a result of why all of these things are happening, because that didn't happen to us in the islands. Okay. Up to the age of 16, you know, I was still eating foods from the earth. You feel me? I was still eating what people call organic food. We didn't call it organic food, because that was just natural living to us. Even right now in the islands, I mean, we have a huge home, okay? And in the yard, we got guavas, mangoes, papaya. I mean, literally, stuff is just falling on the ground. Even right now. I mean, lettuce, and people call it organic. No, we just call it growing food. That's how I was raised. So I grew up eating food straight from the ground. You feel me? So it was a difference in culture. So I want to start talking about those things. Even if I'm going to be doing in the talk show, I'm going to be doing a lot more listening, because it's about my brothers and sisters talking about the trauma that they had to deal with. But I'm still going to talk about, you know, some of my childhood experiences, so we could compare the differences again, just to solidify the fact that our brothers and sisters in the United States, there was more of a target on them. Okay, they were more of an experiment opposed to those of us in other parts of North America and our brothers and sisters in South America. For some reason, those in the United States was targeted differently. Okay, so we are going to talk about that. All right, and yes, absolutely. Okay, our brothers and sisters in the United States, for some reason, it was a different type of colonization. You feel me? It was just they took it to a whole different level. Okay, so we are going to be talking about that, and we are going to go in depth. And like I said, that's one of the things, like, I think that we have to do as a people. You know, we have to start dealing with the mental disease and start talking about ways to become wholesome holistically. Okay, and not look at it as, oh, well, people being crazy. No. All right. No, that's not the case. There's always a reason for everything, and we are going to talk about those things. Okay, so once again, for those of you who are who would be willing to come on and talk about your childhood experiences, deem it good or bad, you know what I'm saying, let's talk about it, because that is one of the ways where we're able to start the wholeness. Okay, the wholeness process. All right, of getting over the trauma, so we could stop hurting each other. Because why? Hurt people. You feel me? Now, okay, now D'Anthony said, yeah, we were more colonized, in my opinion. And you're absolutely right. I respect your opinion, because again, our brothers and sisters in the United States, they were targeted in a whole different way. All right. And you know what? I'm glad you said that, because those of us in the other parts of North America, we fought hard, whether y'all want to believe it or not. We fought so hard to prevent them from coming into the mainland. That's why I am so surprised that we allow the United States and different countries to do what they're doing to these Haitians. If y'all knew what the Haitians did for us on a whole in the Americas period, okay, when everybody was colonized and Haiti got their independence, Haiti was saying, listen, we want y'all to come to Haiti. Come get passports. Come get citizenships. All right? Because we ain't standing for that. Why do you think Haiti is going through what it's going through right now? But because we are so disconnected, you feel me? We should be tearing things up because of what they're doing to our Haitian brothers and sisters. Facts over feelings. I don't condone violence, but I condone self-defense. You feel me? Defending yourself. I'm a supporter of that. Because if you start it, we should finish it. Period. You feel me? But we have become our biggest enemies because we think we are different. We may have a different accent. Okay? We may have a different way of, which is accent, speaking. It happens. Even right here in the United States, people speak differently. And that's what we're dealing with. But you have no idea how hard we fought in different parts of the Americas to prevent these colonizers from coming into the mainland. Because we knew once they infiltrated the mainland, we knew it was going to be a wrap. Okay? Why do you think it was so hard to get Florida? Florida was part of the Caribbean. You feel me? California was part of the Caribbean. But they will not tell you that. It's literally a few minutes from Florida to Cuba to Jamaica. I mean, literally, it was the same land. It was the same. You could literally walk from one to the next or take a little canoe. So our ancestors fought so hard to prevent them from coming into the mainland. So they came in through Florida. That was a tough fight. That's why even in the election, Florida is one of the major swing states because of the political atmosphere. What had to happen before the colonizers came into Florida. California was another one. You feel me? We gotta come back together, family. We gotta unite, man. All right. Shonda G said they refused to be colonized. Exactly. Because we fought the Caribs. I mean, let me tell you something, all right? The little island that I was born in, or I was, you know, I arrived in, you know, I don't want to get technical with the words, but the little island that I was born in, Dominica, right? Literally, you know what the French and the English had to do? They had to pass a treaty saying, nah, leave this island for the Caribs because they're fighting, they're just too fierce, okay? And they left the island alone because we were in the hills and the mountains just jacking everybody up. So we fought. Don't let anybody fool you. Oh, yo, nah, they just came and they just enslaved everybody. Nah, man. No, it wasn't like that. All right? It wasn't like that. We had a whole different mindset. Okay? Death before dishonor. What do you think they got that from? They got that from us. We would rather die. But we got tricked into commerce. When the whole commercial world became popular, that's when we lost the battle. And even today, we are losing the battle in the game of commerce, in the game of business. So there's nothing new under the sun. Nothing new whatsoever. Okay? Bonita says, they have killed off all the foods that grow naturally. Oh, yeah. You know, and that's here in the United States. In the islands, you know, they're still growing food. I mean, natural foods. You know what I mean? That's why I said I can't wait until this whole pandemic thing is over so we could start taking some trips to the islands. You know what I mean? Let me show y'all like what it feels like to eat some real food from the ground. You know what I mean? Well, here's the thing. Bonita, all right, yes and no. You said that somewhere along the line, all along the way, our ancestors laid down the fight or just gave up and decided to stop teaching us. No, that wasn't the case. Like I said before, we lost the battle on paper is due because of treaties. Remember, a lot of people are looking at this fight from a perspective of just so-called black and white. Okay? But they're not realizing that the first people who came here, even before 1492, and start infringing on our land were people who look just like us. The so-called white man didn't come into play until the 1600s, all right, the mid 1600s. But when he came into play, he didn't come into play as a powerhouse. They came into play as slaves and servants, okay? It wasn't until after revolutions and revolts of everybody coming together, every ethnic group that was enslaved. It was just that the so-called pale man was ahead of the game. Why? Because he was already servants and slaves in Britain on the so-called black people. So he knew the game. So all he did was he flipped the game. That's why I tell people I'm not mad at the player. I mean, so I'm mad at the game because we lost the game. You feel me? So with the whole commercial world, you feel what I'm saying? That's where we lost it because we started to sign treaties thinking everything would have been cool. So we didn't give up physically. No. It was treaties and truce and truce that kind of signed, that was signed, covenants were put in place. Okay, and these covenants or treaties were expected to be honored. You feel me? But then with that, another set of deceitfulness took place, where now the people who were supposed to have the republic, the so-called black nobles, they decide to join with the pale man to fight us now. And they got rid of the Iroquois Confederacy. So now it was only the Republic and the United States standing. And the pale man said, nah, man, we ain't doing that. So what they did now, they went back to the Indians and say, yo, those people help us fight against you, help us fight against them. So now we caught between a rock and a hard stone. So now we joining the pale man to fight the Republic. And that's how the United States became the last man standing. And I've explained that in many videos before. You have to know the story. You have to know the history to know exactly how it transpired. Yes, some of our ancestors sold out. I'm going to keep it real. You know what I mean? But that was what happened in essence. You feel me? So now we have to come back together, and we still have to watch people who look like us, because they still have the blood of their ancestors that came here that look like us and fought us. So it's a tough position to be in. A very tough position to be in. But regardless of what the situation is, the system is targeting everybody, where it became about the have and the have-nots. It ain't got nothing to do with skin. All right, so I hope that makes sense. So once again, I hope you guys found some value in this video. I wanted to address the LeBron thing, which making my point that we should start having our own leagues. I wanted to show you where lacrosse came from, just like how hockey came from us. Lacrosse also came from us, okay? And showed you about the crib dance. The crib dance is an American indigenous Indian dance, okay? If you look at the fire dance or the sun dance, all that stuff is similar, all right? So keep that in mind. That's our culture. It's ours. And everything that we are, everything that we were, everything that we had was stripped away from us. Everything. Except for false identities and false narratives of where we came from. You did. Okay? So let's keep that in mind. All is not lost. You know what I mean? All that stuff was hidden from us, and that's why we are bringing it out. We are teaching it. Now we are telling the world our story, and we have to step up in a huge way on the international stage. Because guess what? I think it was yesterday. Yeah, yesterday. All right. I was walking down Church Avenue. Okay. Church Avenue is a long avenue, a long street in Brooklyn, right? And I'm walking down Church Avenue. You know what I mean? I got my my little headband on. I got my feathers on. I got a poncho on. You know what I mean? And yo, you know, two Mexicans was at a red light. All right. And, you know, they like literally, I mean, gazing, staring me hard. All right. But they smiling, and it's like a smile of being proud. Right. So they put their hands up and they waved. So I waved back. And so I ran back to the car. They still at the red light. And I said, yo, I knock on the window. He kind of like, I startled him. I said, no, everything is cool. So I was like, yo, why y'all was smiling like that? You know what I mean? And he said, man, that's cool, man. I love your feathers, man. That's original. The Mexicans. You see what I'm saying? So my thing is, people know who we are. But a lot of us don't know who we are. And then when we tell our people who they are, they want to say, oh, you ain't proud to be African, or you ain't proud to be black. But it's quite ironic that many other ethnic groups know who we are. And to me, that's the troubling part. You feel what I'm saying? Well, yeah, I mean, you're right. They're mixed. Okay. They're mixed because remember, they still have that Aboriginal blood in them. You see, that was the whole point, to come in and mix in with the Aboriginals. You see, so I tell people, I'm never going to take away what's in a person's blood. My thing is, I just want the true recognition of who we are. You feel me? Some of these natives, okay, they still have, our blood in them. You feel me? I mean, I'm not saying Venus. I'm not saying that they're not Spaniards. You feel what I'm saying? But they still have our blood in them. Should they ignore that and say they're not indigenous? All I'm just saying, I'm not biased. You feel me? I'm not biased. It's like a lot of us saying, well, you know what? Nah, none of us ain't got no African blood in us or got European blood in us. How do you know? People have been mixing I'm talking about for thousands of years. My thing is not about the mixing. My thing is about who we are. And you're absolutely right. They are Spaniards. I respect that. But does that negate the fact that they still have our blood in them? You feel me? So we cannot take them being indigenous. That's why there is two different etymologies for indigenous. One means original and one means to be born. These natives that are out here claiming to be us, they are indigenous because they are native, just to be born, but they are not original. And that's why we have to step up and come together, and we have to address that. You feel me? Let them prove we're from Africa, because they can't prove it, because we are not. And we could prove that these people are not the natives, because we have enough documents to solidify our claim. You did. Now, I'm not doing the back and forth with the argument. You see what I'm saying? I'm just telling you how I feel. I respect your opinion, and I'm just saying that, yes, they are Spaniards, but they still got our blood in them. You see what I'm saying? So I respect your opinion. I'm going to leave it as that. So I'm not going to turn that into a back and forth. All I'm just saying is these people have our blood in them. It is really that simple, and they know that. Okay, because I've spoken to a lot of Mexicans, all right, who have actually told me the truth, that the original Mexicans, you dig, they look like me. And they look like us. Okay, they were so-called Negroes, okay, and all of a sudden they stopped seeing them. So I know the truth. So the point is not whether they are Aboriginals or not. I know they're not Aborigines. And yes, they are Spaniards, but they have our blood in them. That's just all I'm just saying. Okay. So just like these natives, a lot of them have our blood in them. Once again, let's go back to the conversation I had with the gentleman from the Cherokee Nation, right? Which is a made-up nation by the government. Okay. Let's look at that, for instance. What did he say? When the back and forth was going and he realized he got caught in a trap, what did he say? He said, well, just so you know, my grandmother, if she took a hot comb and she ran it through her hair, she would look like one of the black people in Tulsa, Oklahoma. My question is, what does perming your hair or not have to do with the complexion of your skin? So he just solidified everything that me and him spent a whole 20 minutes talking about, trying to tell us we're from Africa. You see what I'm saying? So that's why I tell people the only people that have a right, an inherent right to call themselves Americans is us. We are the only Americans. Everybody else are United States citizens, including these natives. Yes, tell them Chief Kalanago said so, because it's a fact. Okay, we gave up our birthright to become United States citizens. Okay, that's what we did, because we wanted to be a part of that society. You did. But we are the only ones that have an inherent right to be called American Indians. I mean, just American, period. We could even take away the Indian, just American, that's us. Nobody else have that natural right to be called an American. Nobody. We don't have to be Black American. We don't have to be American Indian, just straight up American. That's us. That is our nationality. That is our identity. That is our race. We are Americans, period. Okay, so again, I'm not telling people what to do, but I would suggest we start coming together so we can start making some moves. All right. And that's all I got for you right now. Okay. So with that being said, don't forget on 12/12, I'm going to be starting a segment on the platform. I'm going to have guests on the show, and we're going to talk about childhood traumas. All right. Because we want to get to the bottom of the mental disease, and we want to start the holistic healing and well-being process. Okay. So we want to start that. All right. Just so y'all know, after December, I'm going to start getting back into the website where we could start creating a form of membership, because we have to create an organization for us to step up. Okay, because remember, individually we are weak, together we are strong. All right. And with this organization, we have to be very particular about who we bring into our organization. We are not going to fall victim to people who look like us that want to come into our organization to take it out. Okay. So we have to go through a vigorous weeding process. And we're going to start doing the memberships so we could start putting some things in place. You feel me? Because you have to have an organization. Look at how the Cherokee Nation and a governmental organization literally wiped out the Anion and took their place. And now they're getting all these benefits because they were organized. You see what I'm saying? And that is one thing a lot of us have issues with. We don't know how to organize. So I don't know what anybody else is doing or what they will be doing, but I know sometimes when you want things done the right way, you have to do it yourself. So I'm going to take it upon myself and launch the organization. All right. And we're going to do it the right way. We're going to have board members. There's going to be transparency. There's going to be responsibility. And we are going to do it the right way. Okay. So we have a lot of great things ahead of us. So let us continue to be proactive. Okay. Let us continue to be optimistic. Okay. Jones said, I am Native and Negro, so I know very little about both sides, and my parents both passed away, and I am ready to lead my people. Well, Joan, when you say you're a Native and Negro, all Native means just to be born. Okay, what you don't know is the American Negro is the original American Indian. So that question you are asking, is kind of like one of the same. Okay, because the American so-called Negro is the original American Indian. We were the ones that were found here by the colonizers even before 1492. And I have enough information on my videos, and go to the website. I'm going to put it in the link below. Okay, www.ipnan.org. All right. Go to the website. I have enough information on there. I even have a section to help you trace your ancestry. Okay. Broke some things down in detail. So all that information is on the website. Okay. So definitely sometime in January, we will be focusing more on the organization, memberships, and all that. IDs will be created. And it's time to put some things, once again, put some things out there and start holding people accountable. All right. So. All right, beautiful. So that's good. You have that information. You know what I mean? But definitely go to the site and, just kind of browse through the site. There's a lot of information would also, assist you and give you some pointers in tracing your family tree. All right. So check that out. All right. Yes. So that's what I will be doing. And we are going to make some things happen. I want us to, as an organization, I want us to go to the Black Caucus, interview them. All right. Whether it may be a live interview, whatever the case may be. But we definitely have to go deal with the Black Caucus because they are one of the culprits, in my opinion, okay, that's promoting, all right, the colonization of our people because they know the truth. So we have a lot of work to do, and I can't do it alone, okay? I cannot do it alone, all right? So please let us, just kind of like start preparing ourselves for that so we could definitely come together and start putting some work in. Okay. So you guys have an amazing one. I don't know if I'll do another video after this, but I'm going to take a little break. I'm going to walk to the fruit stand. I'm going to get me some fruits. And then when I come back, if I have anything else to go over, I'll do that. But in the meantime, I want to thank y'all for being a part of that build. And we do have some work to do. So let's come together and think about ways where we could work together as a people and bridging the gap, okay, amongst ourselves, and stop the divide and conquer for once and for all. Okay, so we'll make that happen. All right, so we'll talk soon. Take care.